Well, let me tell you about hunting in Missouri this year. I really enjoyed that Missouri trip, and so in the fall of 22 I had an opportunity to go back in early November and went out there, hunted. We were able to hunt a small piece of private land, some public land, and then another small piece of private land, and it was a great time. You'll see it ended on a very cold day. I didn't plan to come home without anything, and so I kind of waited till the last minute, but I got some meat for the freezer. We spent the first couple of days on a small piece of private land that we'd never seen before. We saw quite a few does during those days, but no bucks. Rut was still a little bit away, a few days away, and so we decided to leave there, go to some public land, and come back. Well, when we got to the public land, I went to a spot that I had found in the previous year. I'd seen a really good buck there one afternoon, and I was seeing deer, just no big bucks. So I just kept waiting. Then one of the most exciting things that happened during the trip was there on the public land early one morning, just as it was getting light. I hear a couple of deer coming from the left, and they're moving at a pretty good clip, and they're coming out through the woods, and one of them's grunting about every 2 seconds, and so I'm thinking, okay, here he comes. But it turned out to be this small buck hounding this doe. We moved back to the private land, and I kept adjusting my stand location. On the second morning, I saw this young 8-point. I might would have shot at him if he had given me an opportunity, but he stayed behind these limbs. And then there was a 3-point that I saw a couple of times. He was fun to watch. During some rainy weather, we moved a few hundred miles across the state to the last property that we planned to hunt. Midday we go in, and I found a tree to climb, and you can tell this place had been select cut. Big trees had been removed, and it was very thick. Very difficult to get an arrow through, but great deer habitat. As much interest as this doe showed in this scrape, I was hoping a buck would come along, but it didn't happen. Later that afternoon, a buck eventually showed up and crossed this old logging road, but he was well out of range. Well, the next morning it was 24 degrees, snow on the ground, and before long the wind started blowing. This was our last day to hunt, and when this 2-year-old showed up, I thought, well, this may be the one. That didn't work out. My buddy texted me that he had filled his tag. I was beginning to get cold to the point I was concerned if I'd be able to get down out of the tree. And so I decided it's time to go ahead and fill my tag with whatever the Lord sends me. So this doe shows up, and I reach up to turn my camera on, and I'm actually turning my camera off. And so she came on up there to that scrape the way the doe had the afternoon before, and came on actually even a little closer, and I took the shot, and she left. I waited a few minutes and got down so that I could stand on the ground and warm up just a little bit and give the doe a little bit more time. And so I start on the blood trail, and I've only gone 10 or 15 yards just across the little logging road, and I can see the arrow laying there, and I look up, and a doe and a nice rack buck are coming straight for me through this thick stuff. And so I get my phone out of my pocket and start taking some video, and then this small buck shows up. Sometimes crazy things happen. Well, the doe was easy to find. She had only gone 60 or 70 yards, and I finally got to see my big Missouri buck. Well, this ends up a good hunt in Missouri. I've had all kinds of things happen this morning. Earlier in the video, you probably will have seen some of that. But it's been an awesome morning, been an awesome 10 days, 2 weeks, whatever it's been. But this morning I was just so cold, I decided I was going to go ahead and fill my tag. And so I'm very happy with this doe. She's a fine doe. She'll be good eating. I look forward to getting her in the freezer, and this has just been an awesome hunt. Praise the Lord.